Hi everyone, it's Agnes, and today we have another interview, a success story from Gabi. Gabi's from the USA, so welcome Gabi.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited you're here too. I'm looking forward to hearing your story in more detail. I know bits of your story, but it'll be great to revisit it. So I'm going to let you take it away and you start wherever you want to start. And then
Okay,
where you were and what you did and what you got, what result you got. Go for it.
sure. Okay, so my specific person and I have been in a relationship for quite a long time, but it's been off and on. And I believe it's been off and on or had been off and on because of my own inability to maintain my focus on myself and my own self-love practices. Because I found when I look back and I reflect on just the history of the relationship, a lot of the times where we were off were because I was in a state of need or a state of feeling like my specific person had to support me or had to kind of like make me feel worthy rather than me believing that I was worthy. And so during one of these off times, I manifested a third party. And it was interesting because I believe that was the first time I reached out to you, Agnes, when I manifested the third party. My specific person and I were rocky. We had just said we were taking a break, and literally I was over at his place and we were walking out the door to go to lunch to kind of like talk about, like the breakup talk, like who's going to take what, etc. And as we're walking out, she walks up. And it was like, I didn't even know about her at that point, but obviously I'd manifested her, and it obviously got very heated. I almost felt like I was watching a Jerry Springer show, like there were people thrown at him. It was crazy. And I just kind of stood there, kind of just observing it all. And then he and I, after she left, he and I left and had a discussion. And then, we took a 9-month break and then came back together. And during that 9-month time frame, I did a lot of focusing on myself, primarily from like a psychological perspective of what were my blockages in having a healthy relationship. Why was it that I felt like I needed another person to kind of validate who I am? Why was it that I wasn't happy with me? Why did I need somebody else to make me feel like I was good enough or happy or whatnot? And that's when I really started watching your YouTube channel, as well as there's another teacher that I watched as well, and really started focusing on self-love practices. And I kind of built that into my daily routine. Just, I'd get up in the morning, brush my teeth. I have this really awesome playlist that I listen to that's called Girls Run the World, which kind of pumps me up. And it's all my favorite, like, awesome songs by female artists it's about like female empowerment. And then on my commute, I would listen to my self-love practices, so your YouTube channel, all of your meditations, as I was driving to work. And then throughout the day, I would kind of try and remind myself, like, you're worthy, you're awesome. And then, kind of do the reverse on the way home, listen to your self-love practices on the commute home. And then when I would get home, I would do things that I really enjoyed, like cooking. I would do drawing, painting, and always still listening to anything that made me feel positive and happy. And so over that 9-month time frame, I really became strong within myself. I didn't focus on dating. I didn't focus on even reaching out and talking to my specific person, just because I wasn't even sure where that was going. I wasn't even sure that there was anything there anymore, because for me, that had always been a hard line. Like, a third party had always been a hard line of, nope, not going back, can't come back from that. And then, like I said, nine months later, we started talking again, and he was very apologetic and wanted to try again. And so we did, and we moved forward very slowly. and things were going really well. So this was hopefully about 2 years ago. So things were going really, really well. And then this past February, my birthday actually, I manifested this third party girl again.
Was it, Gabi, was it the same one?
Same one.
Same one. Okay.
Same one. So I do have to say that over the last 2 years that we still were doing on and off. And again, you know, reflecting back, it still was like times when I almost want to say like I got too confident with myself and like stopped doing self-love, stopped doing my meditation, stopped doing my routines. And then we would get into an argument and break up for like 2 days, you know, and it was, I hate to say it, but it was a very like immature way of handling things. Both of us were very immature about how we were handling the relationship. And so in February, actually on my birthday, and warning to like PSA warning to all viewers, this is what happens when you Facebook stalk somebody. The night before my birthday, I literally unblocked her on my Facebook, like unblocked her, clicked on her name on the unblocked list, unblocked her, and then saw her Facebook page, and there were photos of them on her Facebook page. And he has always been very private. He's always been very like, he doesn't even have a Facebook, so he's always been very like anti putting his information out on the internet.
Yeah.
And so I was floored. I was shocked. And I was, of course, like trying to find out like what was the date that this photo was posted or taken or whatever. And they were all from June, which during that time he and I had been off. So I was like, okay, this is a little weird. So then I go to work, and you know, you guys all have that one friend that like wants to be like FBI detective when you tell them something. So she like jumps on Instagram and like finds this girl, pulls up her Instagram page, and sees all these photos of them. And they were like from December, which he and I had been really good since August. So it was like, okay, now there's something going on. So I didn't confront him. I instead did the typical girl thing where I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and let it go and see what happens. Like only time will tell kind of thing. And I say typical girl because I have found that more of my female friends have said that that's kind of like their go-to as well, rather than to like jump on it and be like, oh, what's happening? Like they're just like, let's see, let's wait and see what's going to happen. So I was like, okay, all right. So something's going on. Not sure. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're still friends, you know, whatnot. I don't know. But of course you have that like inner gut thing going like, okay, you manifested this somehow. What did you do? First of all, Facebook stalking, that definitely contributed. Yeah. But I think also too, like I had to have been thinking in my mind multiple times that she was still in the picture in order for me to even have had that notion to Facebook stalk.
Yep.
So I created it. So I know I did. And so I was like, okay, like I created this. All right, let's just see what's going to happen. And then the next thing I know, she messages me on Facebook. She messaged me, and it turned into this whole like, well, we've been living together and da-da-da, and like, you know, we're talking about getting married and getting a dog and going to Iceland and all this stuff. And so I freak out, and I go into like freak out mode and start calling him. Like not just once, I'm really not proud about this, but like 40 times. Yeah. And I knew he was with his friends and he wasn't going to respond because he had told me he was going out for the weekend. He was going away to go hiking. And so I wasn't going to get a response, but I was in freak out mode. Yeah. I didn't know what to do. So this girl basically was like, oh, let's meet up, like, let's talk about this. Because I also was kind of like trying to figure out like what's real and what's not. Because a lot of her story didn't make sense either, because the time she was saying that like they were, quote, living together, he was with me a lot of the time. Like, it just didn't make sense. So I said, yeah, let's meet up. And then I actually got in the car to go meet up with her. And then she Facebook called me again and was like, no, I can't do this. I'm freaking out, having an anxiety attack. And then I was like, okay, that's weird. So there was that.
Wow.
But the whole situation had me very heightened and in very like drama mode. And I think that's like, I called you or like reached out to you and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah. When on the timeline, when was that again?
This was, I believe this was February 10th that
this year.
Yes, this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I reached out to you and, you know, we talked about how like I obviously created the third party. And so I need to create what it is that I want. And what did I want? Well, I wanted him and I to be in a supportive, loving, positive, healthy relationship. I wanted us to be living together, celebrating that moment. And so you were like, well, you know, you can script, you can do a couple of different things. So the first thing I did was I did the rubbing out technique.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever done it. And I kind of modified it. And I think I sent you a photo of it as well of what I did, but I basically did a 4 square picture of stick figures.
Yeah.
And the first picture had him and I holding hands and just her in the background. And then the second picture had like him and I holding hands and then her walking out of the background. And then the third one was like her like halfway out of the background and like him and I holding hands. And then the last one was like her gone, him and I holding hands. And then I made like a text, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a text box, like a
thought bubble.
Okay, a thought bubble, perfect. That's what I told myself to do, in a thought bubble. And I basically was like, I'm so happy and so happy for you that you have found a great partner for you and that sort of thing. And I send you off with love and light. Like, thank you for being in our lives and in our experience and for pointing some things out. But I'm so glad that you now have found a partner for yourself, that you are happy and supportive. And, you know, I send you off with love and light. And then I kind of meditated on that. And I actually did the meditation where the whisper technique, where I actually whispered to her, like, thank you so much for being in our lives and for bringing light to the things that he and I need to work on. And, you know, I'm so happy for you that you have a wonderful partner now and that you yourself are in a better place as well. And I send you off with love and light as well. Because I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing it in a negative way. I wanted to make sure that she felt that she had come into our experience to do what she needed to do, and give us our lessons we needed to learn, and then that she was also being cared for and loved as she was walking away as well. Yeah. And kid you not, literally 24 hours after I did that, I got a phone call from him. And he was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, but we obviously need to have a conversation. And you know, he did share with me that he was like, well, a lot of things that she told, because I told him the stuff that she had said to me, and he goes, that's not true. That's not true. Like, the living together, that's not true. He goes, you know, we did have dinner back in November, and then one thing led to another. And he's like, you know, she did come out to see me in December, and he's like, you know, we did hook up, and he's like, and I do apologize for that. And I was like, okay. And I kind of left it at that, and didn't really have more of a conversation about the relationship or where it was going. I just kind of listened to what he had to say. And when he was done, I mean, he called during my workday, so I kind of had an excuse to go. And then I remember reaching out again to you, I believe it was that night, and saying, okay, like, I heard from him and now I need to figure out what it is I want. You're like, okay, like, do your scripting. So what I did was I wrote out this wonderful experience that I wanted to share with him, which was our first night of moving in together.
Yeah.
And I wrote it all out and I scripted it all. And then what I did was I went into the kitchen and I did what I love to do, which is cook. And I made 2 meals. Yeah. So like a meal for 2 people. I plated it for 2 people. I opened up a bottle of champagne.
I remember this.
Yeah, I took 2 glasses and I went to the living room. I put on our favorite movie that he and I love to watch together. I put it on, I sat the meals down, I had the glasses out, I poured 2 glasses of champagne. I think I sent you a picture of like, this is what I did last week. And what I did was I actually acted as if he was there. Yeah. So I had a verbal conversation, which I know sometimes people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell this part of my story, but I'm like, no, really, it works. Like, I had a verbal conversation as if he was there. Yeah. I reacted to the movie as if he was there. I had a conversation saying, oh, I'm so grateful that we're moving in together. Isn't this place wonderful? Like, I love how all of our stuff is coming together. Like, just having this great conversation. And then I pretended, like, make believe that he was having a conversation back with me.
Yep. Yep.
And then the next phone call I got.
And Gabi, you know what's great about that? Mm-hmm. Is in the light of reality, in the light of what was happening, you just went, you know what? No. And you just went the other direction. And that takes a lot of courage, because most people sit on the couch with the tissues and watch some sad movie and feel sorry for themselves.
Yeah. Well, there was some crying, but I was also, you're right. I was also like, I'm not, and I think when I reached out to you too, I was like, I'm not accepting this.
Yes, I remember.
Too hard.
Yeah.
But like, this is not my reality. This is not what I want. And so I needed to focus on what I did want. And I did. And I focused on that. And then the next phone call I got from him was a conversation where he was very explicit with me. And he said, you know, we've worked too hard and we've been together too long and overcome too much for me to throw this away. He's like, you know, he apologized. He was like, I screwed up. And he's like, I'm making a promise to you that this will never happen again. He's like, I want you. I want a life with you. I want you as my wife. I want you as the mother of my children. He's like, I want to move with you. You know, my future is with you. Right here is with you. Right now is with you. And I have to say that ever since he made that declaration to me, the conversations we have are so much healthier and so much more mature, you know? We even had a disagreement about something political, and which is rare that we do that, but he even had a conversation, in that disagreeing conversation, whereas before it would have turned into an argument and probably would have ended up with like well, fine, you know, we're done or whatever. Yeah. It was actually like okay, I hear what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from. This is what I'm saying, and this is where I'm coming from. Yeah. And it was a healthy discussion, and neither one of us ended the phone call with, we're done, we're over, we're whatever. Yeah. And it's been that way, like I said, ever since. So if I take a look at my timeline, the finding out that I manifested the third party again was February 1st.
When did you manifest that the first time, though?
It was November 2 years prior.
Okay, so 2016.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So November 2016 manifested third party the first time.
Yep.
Then February 1st found out I manifested the same third party a second time.
Yep.
February 10th had the conversation with that third party.
Yep.
February 11th got a phone call from my specific person. February 13th / morning of the 14th, which ironically is Valentine's. Yes. I did my scripting of moving in together with my little make-believe conversation. And February 14th got the phone call from my specific person where he committed, you know, he apologized and committed to a fantastic relationship. And I have to say that since then, our relationship has been amazing.
Yeah. And you made that commitment to yourself before it changed on the outside. That's what I
Yes. And I have to say too that I even noticed there's been a couple of days just due to lifestyle components, like things going on in my life, where I haven't been able to get up and do my routine of you know, awesome playlist while I get ready, then listening to self-love meditations on the commute to work and then back again, just because I've had a few things that, like, you know, students graduating, etc. And I can tell on those days that I myself have a different perspective of the world around me and what's going on. And
Yep.
I've had to consciously stop myself and be like, okay, girl, you did not do your self-care. You need to stop. Take 10 minutes, go listen to a meditation, take 10 minutes, sit in meditation, and just give yourself your self-love affirmations. And I have to say, that I think was the biggest part of this, is that you cannot manifest what you want, whether it's a specific person, money, a vacation, whatever. You cannot manifest what it is you want unless you are rocking your self-love. It just won't happen. The universe doesn't bring it into your reality. It won't even bring it into like your outer realm if you yourself are not ready. Yeah. And I've done a lot of the Zoom calls with you, with the group Zooms, and I've seen so many people that just want their specific person. They just want. And they're so focused on, well, I reached out to this person and they didn't talk to me back, or I called this person, or I saw this person, or whatnot. Yeah. And I just want to say to all of them and to all of your viewers that your energy creates your reality. So what you focus on is what's going to manifest. So if you're focusing on, oh, well, I talked to this person, they didn't talk to me back, well, then they're not going to talk to you at all because you're focusing on that. So instead, you need to be focusing on like how awesome you are as a person, how awesome you are, how deserving you are, how supportive you are, what a great partner you are, how beautiful you are, how loving you are. Focus on all of that. And then you're not just going to get your specific person manifesting into your realm. You're going to get other people that like validate that experience for you as well. Yep. And that you have to keep doing. That's a lifelong practice. You can't just like do it to get somebody and then drop it when you have that person. Because then you do what I did and you get a constant back and forth of like on again, off again, manifesting that third party twice.
But you know, Gabi, I think that's it's like you go from not doing anything, your person leaves, then you get on the internet, you look up YouTube, you find out about this stuff, then you start doing it, you start feeling better, then your person comes back, then all of a sudden you drop everything, it's good for a little bit, and then it declines. So I think that lesson is such a good lesson because you really see when I do my self-love and my self-worth, then I get stable. When I get stable, then I get my relationship back. But it's not about just getting them back and then you drop your whole life again. You've missed the whole point. So I think that lesson is a good one to learn when you lose it again after you've learned about self-love. Because then you go, now I know why the self-love was so important in the first place.
Right. And I think you said like on numerous times, you said it should be like 75% self-love, like 25% other types of meditations to talk to your specific person. And I would even challenge you to be more that it's 90% self-love and 10% the other specific person meditations, only because if you are in this constant state of sadness and grief and longing over your person, then I would challenge you to really ask yourself, why? Like, why am I so upset that this person isn't in my life? Because love is not that answer. Because when you love someone, you should be able to love someone from afar. You should be able to love someone whether they're with someone else. You should be able to love someone whether they're with you. It's not that answer. Like love is not that answer because love doesn't come from that place of need. I mean, even if you look at the vibrational scale, love and joy are way up there, whereas like fear and need and sadness are way down. So they're not even remotely close. So I wonder, like, not wonder, but I believe that you can't hold love at the same time you hold fear. No. You can't hold that vibration together.
Nope.
They're two different opposite ends of the spectrum. And so when you're sad and when you're in need and you're in longing, you're in a state of fear. You're like, oh my gosh, this person isn't going to come back. Oh my gosh, this person, like it's almost like if you replace this person with like a watermelon, right? Like, okay, would you really be that upset if your watermelon went missing or like your watermelon rolled off into like the sunset? No, you wouldn't, right? Because you could go get another watermelon. But it's the attachment that you put with the person. And it's like, well, why do I have this attachment to this person? Not saying you can't get the person you want, just saying that you need to look at the attachment. The attachment is what you need to analyze. The attachment is what you need to figure out. Because once that attachment has released and you don't have that resistance anymore of, okay, this attachment is fear, okay, this attachment is sadness. Once that attachment is gone and you're just looking at it from the eyes of love and you're vibrating from love and joy, then that person comes into your life because they don't feel like you're attached anymore. They don't feel like you're in need. They don't feel like they have to be like your pedestal almost. Like they're like, you're on your own pedestal, girlfriend. Like, I'm going to come join you because you're rocking it. And that's what people should be doing. They should be rocking it, rocking who they are. And accepting who they are and loving everything about themselves.
And then you're wonderful to be around emotionally. It's all that you're not giving to me. You used to do this for me. Why don't you love me anymore? Why are you over there? You don't text me when I text you. Why? You got to do all this stuff for me to feel okay. It's a sad thing. It's a sad state of being.
It is. Yeah. And I think also too, humans, we're such creatures of habit. And so a lot of times change for us is very scary. And people will see doing the self-love work and falling in love with themselves is change. It's not what you've been doing. And it doesn't just change you. It changes everyone around you. Like I can tell you, my relationship with my family members improved and is still improving. People I work with that I thought were like my clique at work started to just fall away because I'm no longer vibrating on that same level. And the things that they want to sit there and talk about, I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like you want to talk drama, you want to talk gossip. I don't have time for that. Like, let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about being like problem solvers. And even in my circle of friends, like my circle of friends have changed. My best friends from growing up, like we're still friends, but our relationships have changed because of the vibrational frequency I'm on versus where they're at on any given day, you know? And so it's something that I think a lot of people are scared to do the work. And it is work, and it's not going to happen instantaneously. Everybody reads The Secret, watches The Secret, and they're all like, oh, it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to think about it and then it's going to happen. The Secret leaves out some important steps because it's so simplified. So it leaves out the fact that like you have to be vibrating on the frequency of love and joy, not vibrating on the frequency of, you know, a specific person, because that's not the frequency. The frequency of everything you want in this universe is love and joy. Love, joy. That's where you should be all the time. And if you fall a little bit, figure out a way to get back up there. I mean, that was, for me, that was one of the hardest things to overcome. You know, I watched the movie The Secret when it came out. I read The Secret. I went pretty crazy into like law of attraction. Like I read The Alchemist. I started reading like everything I could get my hands on. Abraham Hicks. This was like probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So I've been studying law of attraction for a long time, but it for me, it was like every morsel that I read, that I added to like my repertoire was like, okay, it's not going to be this instantaneous manifestation. And I had to think about that when I was thinking about my specific person as well, that it wasn't going to be instant. It wasn't going to be this like, oh, I'm going to do this, and by the end of the week, this is going to happen. Now, I will say it did happen much quicker than I thought it was going to with this, but I think that's just because I've been doing so much self-love practice work that I was able to just jump right back into self-love. And when you are in self-love and you are doing, at least for me, when I'm doing self-love 90% of the time, things manifest within 24 hours or less. But you got to be there. You got to be there. You got to be there.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's so true, Gabi. And I think, you know, if you're trying to get somewhere fast, which most people that come to my channel when they first start, it's always they're looking up how to get an ex back, how to get a specific person back. You get on there and you think, how do I change this quickly? Because I feel so rotten.
Right.
But so you come in through that doorway, but eventually you stumble upon some YouTube that talks about self-love and self-worth. You can't avoid it on that channel. So it's like you come in thinking you're just going to try and do some techniques so you can get, but you realize in the end, the fact that you have got the energy of getting is why it's not working for you in the first place.
Right.
So then you learn the deeper levels of why you're really in the state you're in and how to really change it. And if you're in any kind of urgency, I have to get over there when my specific person is fast. Urgency is the very thing that tells you that you're not feeling loved over here and that you think love is over there and I just got to get over there to get the love. And as soon as you're in that mode, the person moves further away from you because getting is the very energy that repels them loving you in the first place.
Right, right. And I also think too that people think that it's going to be like this immediate, like, this immediate instant manifestation is just going to show up. And it's really not. It's more like playing a game of chess. You have a long game.
It's a long game. Yeah, it can be a long game. And I know some people really hate that because they want to hear that it's quick. And you know what? For some people it is quick because they actually really get the importance of self-love and they do it. They lay the foundation and they spend time going, I'm going to put me first and I'm going to lay this and I'm going to do it properly. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. But for those people that keep saying to me via email, nothing's happened to me for 3 months or 6 months or a year. It doesn't matter. Some people are slower and it's okay. I want to say that to the viewers that are constantly feeling inadequate because it's taking longer. You know what? I think sometimes when it takes longer, you've laid a stronger foundation. You've understood the importance of, it's like, when you go to the gym, you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to lift more weights to get your strength up. You go on this trajectory. It's slow at first and then it starts to pick up speed. And it's the same with this. This is like a mental fitness. You're learning to get your focus off someone else, get your focus on you, connect to the God of your understanding, and to become somebody that is self-sufficient emotionally and mentally. That you can be more at peace, more centered, more relaxed. And that's when you come across the meditations, that's how you get there. Because people think, meditation's got nothing to do with me attracting my specific person. Heck yes, it's got everything to do with it because it's about you emotionally balancing out and becoming a peaceful human being so that love can come to you because you're not repelling it with you need, you're pushing it away.
Right. So, and I definitely I take a look at my journey and it's taken me 10 years just to get to the conversation with my specific person. Oh, I want to move in with you for sure.
Yeah.
With you, I'm committed to you. Like taking 10 years. And I will have to say that even though what I wanted manifested quickly shortly after the events that transpired in February, the actions even that my specific person has shown towards me since that time frame, it's taken me 10 years. Like he literally flew in and surprised me over Memorial Day and brought me flowers. He for 9 years would tell me, I'm not getting you flowers. Once you cut them, they're dead. Why would I give you something that's dead? I love flowers. I'm a flower girl. I love buying flowers. I love going to the farmer's market to get flowers. And he brought me flowers, and he's made this thing where if he doesn't bring me flowers personally, he sends me flowers.
Nice. Because that's important to you and you've changed something within you to then attract it.
Exactly. But it took me 10 years, you know? And that's the thing is I keep telling, when people ask me about, oh, well, how did you manifest, your relationship? I'm like, it took me 10 years to get to where we are. And had I given up, surely I definitely could have dated somebody else. I could have, gone with somebody else who wanted to get married right away and blah, blah, blah. But this specific person is who I want. And so I was like, okay, I'm either going to stick out and work on me and why is this showing up? What lesson is the universe trying to show me? And by taking that perspective and kind of flipping it around as, okay, well, I know that I create everything in my reality. And if I know that, and this is showing up in my reality, why am I creating this? What lesson am I trying to teach myself? Because when I say the universe is really you. It's just, you just have to give it a name sometimes, because sometimes people feel a little weird. Well, what is the you trying to tell you?
Like, well, it's basically it, isn't it?
It is, it's like, well, the universe is going to show up. No, you're going to show up. You're going to manifest what it is that you want. And you can give it whatever name you want. If you want to give it spirit, universe, God, higher self, anything like that. But, I had to keep asking myself, why is this coming up? What is it that I need to learn? What is it that I need to work on? And when I looked at it from that perspective, rather than the perspective of like, oh, my relationship is over, this person's not with me, then I started looking at it from that perspective of like, okay, like, it's a lesson I'm learning to get better, because it's almost like playing a video game. Like, you have to level up. Like, you have to level up. It's like level up, and like,
and you keep going over that part again and again until you get it to level up. Yeah.
Exactly. If you keep getting eaten by that Venus flytrap thing that comes out of the pipe, you got to figure out how to jump over it at the right time. And so
Gabi, this would make a great video game, wouldn't it? Going through the levels of, your self-love, the third party, your specific person's mother-in-law or what?
Right? It's just, and I think you also have to be light and fun with it too. Like, so many people are all serious about their specific person, which it's okay to do that. But when you guys, when your specific person breaks up with you, or you guys are in a bad spot, or you break up with that person, or somehow, some way that person isn't with you, you gotta look at it from a lighter perspective. You've gotta step back and be like, this isn't happening to me. I'm not a victim. This isn't like, the world's over. Instead, look at it as like a video game. Okay, I got bit by that Venus flytrap, or I fell off of that ledge. Now, how do I rewrite, which Goddard's revision would work. How do I go backwards? And then what do I need to do so that that doesn't happen again? Yep. And the answer is always self-love. It always comes back to self-love.
But you know what? In your not incident, I can't even find the word.
It's an incident.
In the instance, that's the word I'm looking for. In the instance of the news you got, and you went home and you cooked the meal for two and the 2 glasses of champagne and the movie and the conversation, you basically blotted out the problem and lived in the solution that evening. And that is a complete fork in the road to what most people will do, because that took effort. It took effort, but you did it. And not only did you do it, but you can now see the results of the effort, because the strength that it took to give that, to focus on that, to do that night, created a new groove with which you went down a new trail.
Yeah, I picked a different book.
You picked a different book off the shelf. That's right. Conscious selection. You consciously selected something else. Exactly right. I think that night was a real turning point.
I definitely
went like that. You went the other way.
And I definitely felt it too. Like, I didn't wake up in the morning feeling like, that like crying hangover that you can sometimes have. Like, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel sad. I mean, there was still like a sense of worry, but it wasn't as strong. Yeah. It wasn't as strong. And I think also too, having a support network, I mean, with you as a coach, it was really easy, because you definitely gave me that feedback of like, you can do this, like, you know how to get to where you want to be. But having also that support network too in your life, where like, I have a manifestation buddy, and I reached out to her and I was like, okay, so I just did this. And she didn't think I was crazy, because she knows the law of attraction principles. And so she was like super supportive of that. And she was like, that's great. That was a great way to do it. Yep. In the moment, for the first like 10 minutes, I totally felt like I was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a wall. Like,
yeah. No, I think that story that you shared is going to help a lot of people, because a lot of people are on that night where they heard that information. So they will now hear, you can go left or you can go right. And that's going to be a story, I think. So, Gabi, that you told me that night when that happened, and we were talking on the phone. I still to this day will never forget that, because it was a massive upliftment in an incredibly dire situation. And that no one can take away from you ever. That's yours. And you get to keep that. And it's gonna help you with so many things, because those kind of moments, those kind of nights, that kind of left turn is where you get your security from.
Yeah.
That's where you planted a stake there and you went, right, no more, this way. And you just went that way. And I know it wasn't the perfectly easy night, but you just did it anyway. It didn't matter. We had our ups and downs. We cried. We had our thing going on. But you know what? We went that way anyway, and we were going to make a decision and be determined to go that way. I'm not going that way anymore. I'm not a victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It was empowering. It definitely was empowering. I do have to say, like, don't tell people what way you're going to go until after you've done it.
Yeah.
I kind of took an introverted day to myself and didn't really tell people.
Yeah.
Like, and really and truly, it wasn't something that I planned ahead of time. It was something I was like, you had said you can script what you want, script it. And remember to be living in the as if, like, live as if now, not what is. And I was like, okay, how do I do that?
Yeah.
I am a very imaginative person. So I was like, okay, I'm going to cook. And then as I cooked, I was like, I'm going to make 2 plates, and then I'm going to set the table. And then like, it was like an in the moment thing, but I do have to say, I agree with you. I definitely felt my energy shift. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like, I'm going to do this, and we're having this wonderful meal, and we're living together, and, we're celebrating our first night in our new house together. And, and the energy did shift between him and I, after that. And so, again, I definitely want to tell your viewers, like, you've got to go back to that self-love, though, because if I didn't have my self-love, I wouldn't have been able to have done that. If I didn't feel like I was already, like, empowered after listening to my empowerment playlist and, like, rocking it out, I would not have been able to have done something like that. I would have been, like, on the phone with my friends. Oh my gosh, he, like, cheated on me, so-and-so.
And then you would have heard, oh, he's such a bastard, and you deserve better than him, and then on it would go for more than 17 seconds. Right. And then it would have started to manifest.
Right, exactly. And I still have that one friend that still occasionally does, like, the weird stalker stuff on that person's page, and I'm like, I don't want to know.
No.
So, like, tell me, and I'm like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. And of course there's nothing there because
it doesn't exist anymore. And you can feel it when you've shifted, and there's no need to even
Yep. So
it's so great. So Gabi, how much contact do you want with people? Will you be available to make comments in the thread, or be available on email? How much availability have you got, and how much would you like to do?
Sure. If anybody wants to reach out, they can reach out either through the comments or through email as well. I will also I think I'm going to be on is it next weekend, your next Zoom? Is it next weekend?
The 30th is the free Q&A. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. I think it's the 30th. Yeah.
Let me see. Is that Sunday?
I can't remember what. Oh, hang on. I've got the diary here.
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday the 30th. Yeah.
I won't be at that one because he's flying in tomorrow.
Fair enough. We'll let you off.
But I will be at your Q&As in July. And then if they want.
And there's the thread. They can.
Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem too. And there's a few of us that from your Q&As have kind of set up like a WhatsApp, like,
fabulous
buddy group. So they can always reach out. Either way, it's fine.
Fabulous. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. That really, really is so great. I would love to get you on for a part 2.
Sure.
In a couple of months, whether you want to share where you're up to from there, or share some of the other manifestations we were talking about prior to us recording.
Yeah.
If you're open to that, I'd love to have you on for another one.
Sure. Yeah. That's, not a problem. Yeah. And if it's just like other manifestations in my life, people can actually see my face next time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah. So yeah,
Wonderful.
no, totally. I would love to do that. And I just really hope that the nugget that people get out of this story, out of my story, is that, you've got to do your self-love. You've got to do that. Like, you've got to surrender your person. Just you've got to let them go. The best thing I read, and I want to say it was either Tony Robbins or Gabi Bernstein, but they were saying, when you hold sand in your hand, if you hold it too tight, it begins to like seep out from between your fingers. So you can't keep it. But if you hold it with a slightly open hand, it just stays there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you have to think about with your specific person. If you're squeezing, they're going between your fingers, And so how do you hold them open, like with an open hand? How do you hold them there? How do you keep them there? Well, you do that by surrounding them with love. How do you surround them with love? You yourself resonate love. And you can only do that through your self-love. So that's what I hope everybody gets from this.
Yay! I'm so happy. It's wonderful. I'd love hearing. It even makes the success sweeter when you've had two really big potholes, and your potholes were really big at the time.
Yeah.
But you focused your way out and you just went, right, pothole, okay, ouch, got to get out of here. And you focused your way in, miscreation, focused your way out, deliberate creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, I'm going to put down below all the links of the stuff that we talked about that you used, because of course that helps other people. And then you will be around to make some little commentaries to help people out.
Yes.
So I'm going to say goodbye to the viewers, and you stay on, Gabi, and we'll say goodbye on our own.
Okay,
Bye,
perfect.
everybody. Thank you for coming, Gabi.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.